Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Hope you're all having a great day wherever you are in the world. So, today, Skyrim Saturday, continuing the whole Dave Adventures thing, but of course, as of over the last hour, I have announced the whole new secret surprise thing that was in Lucien version 1.6.0 that I've been trying to keep sort of under wraps for a little while to give you guys a chance to discover it yourselves, but it's been a week, you've all had a chance to play with the new update. So, you know, sufficient chance has been out there, and I can't keep the secret any longer because it's been quite hard work trying to suppress announcements and everything about it. So, it's now out there, feel free to talk about it. Basically, for those of you not in the know, Lucien now interacts with Inigo, like, properly. Like, Gary, Smart Blue Cat, got in touch with me, and we wrote and recorded 70 conversations, 70-ish, give or take, depending on how you count it, 70-ish conversations for Lucien and Inigo to have with one another in-game. I snuck it into the update 1.6.0 without telling any of you, so that hopefully it would surprise some of you in the game when you were playing, and you'd just find that they were just chatting to each other, and that would be really exciting, or I thought it would be fun anyway. So, it's there! I hope you're enjoying it. How are you finding it? Are you finding it entertaining? I do hope you are finding it entertaining, because we worked on it for a very long time to try and get it as fun and cool as possible and do both characters justice. And it was an absolute privilege to get to work on it, you know. Getting to work with Smart Blue Cat on it was really lovely. It was a fantastic experience. And I'm really grateful that he, you know, agreed to do it, because doesn't happen very often, you know. It was quite a special thing, because I know how busy he is with Inigo version 3, etc. The man has no spare time at all. So the fact that he spent some with me was really greatly appreciated. I have tea. This is going to help me with the stream. So basically, we're going to be playing Skyrim on this stream, and I'm going to be answering your, you know, we can talk about that as much as you want. You know, I'm hoping to pick up Inigo as part of Dave's playthrough, so we can actually see some of the interactions on the stream. And yeah, I hope it's good. If you've got any questions about it all, feel free to ask. You can chat away. I will happily answer pretty much anything about it. Yeah, it's fine, Jotun Randor. I think we kept a lid on it. You know, as I say, it took a few stern words with a few people every now and again to try and get them all on side and make sure that it was not being really publicly spoiled for everyone. But now I'm spoiling it. This is a controlled author spoil, you know, because the spoil is inevitable, and this is me spoiling it for all of you now. So you've had a chance. There you go. Right, so let me catch up on the chat, because I'm not doing a very good job of keeping up with all of this. You know what would be a good idea? If I put my chat on the left-hand side of the screen rather than the right-hand side of the screen, because then it is actually near the camera, so I look like I'm looking at the camera when I'm reading what you're saying. But I don't know how to move it. How do I put it over on the other side? You guys probably don't know. I'm sure there is a way. I'm on Streamlabs OBS. Is there a way to put my chat over on the other side? Hang on, bear with. Show the live chat on the left side. Done. There you go. That's better. Now I can read the chat and I look more like I'm looking at you. That's more immersive. Anyway, yes, right. Let me back up and read what the chat was saying. So, it made me flail my arms with joy at many intervals. I'm really glad to hear that, Bard. And you're finding it exciting and entertaining. Good. I'm very glad. Yes, so Panther Brain, there is a development aspect. So they have an arc. An arc. So they start out with the whole Indigo Julian thing, and they will progress over the course of your playthrough to become better buddies, and that will unlock more interactions for them, which are more buddy friendly. It'll take a little while for that to happen, but, you know, it'll become, you know, their relationship should develop, and I think that's nice. That was something that Gary and I really wanted to do for it, rather than just have it be a static thing, have it something that would grow over the course of the playthrough. Beauty Boss says, I should have known Smart Blue Cat suddenly saying things about Lucien was a hint. Well, Gary and I have been in touch on and off right the way since the start of since I launched Lucien, really. A little after I launched Lucien version 1.0, Gary got in touch with me with some wonderful advice, and tips and everything he learned from being a mod author, and how to handle sort of the community and deal with trolling and all that sort of thing, which I was massively grateful for. And we've been on and off in touch since then. So yeah, but it was back in, I think it was back in last September. Well, it was a little bit before that, because after I did the spliced interactions and I wanted, I did the splice. So I got in touch with Gary and said, can I do this spliced dialogue for Lucien and Inigo? And he was very supportive of that. He approved the conversations and sent me over the voice pack, so I had access to more lines for more of Inigo's lines that weren't used in the main mod. So I made spliced dialogue from that, but I was never very happy with it. It was good enough, but I find splicing dialogue to a satisfactory level really difficult. It's not something I'm naturally good at. It's very difficult to assemble conversations from pre-existing lines. So, but I always had, I always wanted to make it into more of a thing, but Gary was obviously always so busy that it wasn't really an option on the table. But at one point I reached out saying, well, I was thinking, could we, as a treat for the fans, for you guys or whatever, could I get one word from him? Could I get him to say the word Lucien? That was the level I was going in with. Please, at some point, is there any way we could ever get him to just say the word Lucien and I could pop it into a conversation and it would be amazing. So that was what I sort of thought about. And then he came back saying, let's do more than that. And it was a long time until an opportunity actually came along to do it. But then, out of the blue, while I was streaming for you guys, I got an email. And that was the secret email at the time. So I had an email that popped up while I was midstream from Gary saying he had some time to do it. So, yeah, we did it. Very quickly. Well, I say very quickly. It was quite an intense period of writing and recording over a period of a few weeks. Back last year, we wrote them all. And then Gary recorded them all while he had time. And then I recorded my stuff afterwards and implemented it very slowly over the course of the following months and tested the heck out of it. And yeah, finally released it. And I hope you like it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. My face is a bit red. Okay, I mean, quite possibly. I don't really know what to say to that, but I'm sorry if the colour of my face is in any way offensive to you. I don't know. I guess it's a little bit blotchy, maybe from me leaning on my hand. Je ne sais pas. I'm sure it's fine. Is it available for Xbox One? Yes, it is. All Lucien content is on Xbox One as well as PC. I always update them roughly at the same time. Incidentally, I have just done Lucien version 1.6.1 that has just been released as of half an hour ago. So do pick that up. It's just a bug fix update. But I've fixed a whole bunch of issues that came up over the last week with version 1.6.0, which sort of upgraded... So they fixed a bunch of issues with 1.6.0 to make it sort of polished and a bit better, but also there were a few lines in there that just weren't playing when they were supposed to. They were missing audio or whatever, which I've now restored in 1.6.1, so it will actually add a little bit more content for you by fixing bugs that were preventing it from playing. So do get it. It'll make it just that bit better and should fix some issues. So do pick up the updated version, which is available now on all platforms. Has anyone noticed Joseph's title on Discord? Yes, I did change my title. Shout out from Yami Millennium to Julian and Indigo for being the best boys. Who is the next follower that I plan on doing interactions for, or more interactions? As I say, as I usually do say quite a lot, I don't have a roadmap. I do what I have to make the best decisions I can at the time. So no, at the moment I don't know what I'll be doing next when it comes to follower interactions. And also the trouble with collaborations like this is it's never good to announce them in advance because that puts pressure on the other person. And also they can always fall apart. If it's relying on two people, then the other person might have real life stuff come up that might prevent you from actually finishing it. So I would hate to ever disappoint anyone. So I prefer not to announce that kind of stuff in advance. Stuff I can do by myself. I, again, prefer not to announce too far in advance because I don't like to be constrained by a roadmap, but I do feel more comfortable announcing that sort of thing. Are the 700 lines with Inigo a part of the new 2,000 lines? Yes. So 700 of the 2,000 new lines are lines related to the Lucien and Inigo interactions. There aren't 2,700. No, there are 2,000. It's just that 700 of them are part of the Lucien Inigo stuff. Shout out from Nuna to the squeal they did when they heard Lucien say Narusa's name to Inigo in Doomswithar. I'm very glad. So yes, that was the secret email. Bum, 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 bum. Dwemacog, you, me, could you possibly just say Lucien? And Gary, best I could do is Julian. Well, exactly. We thought that would be really funny. You know, that people have wanted Inigo to say Lucien and for Lucien to say Inigo and have these interactions for so long that we thought it would be really funny to deny you the actual names and have them just call each other the wrong thing. It was Gary's idea originally, and I just thought it was hilarious. So, yeah. Very silly stuff. Did we find we were on the same page right away? Was Gary a prima donna? Gary wasn't a prima donna. He's an absolute gentleman. And yes, we have very similar design philosophies when it comes to our mods, mainly because I learned how to mod by studying Inigo in the creation kit, pretty much. Like, I take all my cues from Inigo. Lucien is very much inspired by Inigo in terms of his structure and his, the level of polish and quality and the design decisions and everything. So I was already, so we naturally align on a lot of things like that. So, yeah, it was great. It was really lovely. I mean, I don't know how Gary necessarily feels about it all and whether he would describe the same experience. I think he's been very lovely about it all the time and always says lovely things, so I would assume that they are true and that he enjoyed it an awful lot as well. I certainly enjoyed it. It was great. And yeah, we had a really good rapport going of we were working on a shared kind of Google Doc, editing it at the same time, writing stuff, commenting on each other's things, tweaking each other's lines. So we'd write outlines of the scene. You know, we'd write a sort of first draft of the scene. So I had an idea for, say, their Riften conversation, and I wrote it out. But the understanding is that, you know, all my lines I write for Inigo are placeholders, and all his lines he writes for Lucien are placeholders. Obviously, we were both very familiar with each other's characters, and I have to say, Gary did a fantastic job of capturing Lucien's voice. I think, like, there was very little of his stuff that I had to tweak in any way. You know, it was perfect. The vast majority of it was just perfect Lucien. So yeah, so we would tweak it. You know, we would have the final say on our own characters and what they say, and we each approved every conversation and confirmed it. And yeah, it was fantastic. Really, not a prima donna at all, just a gentleman is all I can say. Gary's a wonderful, wonderful guy. Shout out from Nuna to Nuna for keeping the secret, probably the longest secret they've ever kept in their life. Yes, Nuna did have to keep that secret for many months. So, as did my other moderators, so thank you to them for keeping it. And a couple of people from the Inigo Discord as well, who were involved in setting it up and getting us in contact to begin with, and they did a wonderful job of keeping it secret too. So shout out to Beowulf and Madpaw for being legends in helping out with all of that. Right. Bum, 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 bum. Does Lucien have any dialogue for Forgotten City or Clockwork? No, he doesn't have any dialogue for either because those are single-player mods. They're intended to be played without followers, so I don't do that. Nyx, was the collaboration a two-ways thing? Well, I think I've just explained it, so I can probably skip that question now. Shout out from Czech to Joseph and Gary for being the absolute best. Well, Gary is the absolute best. I can confirm that. But thank you. Shout out from Jotun Randor to Joseph and Smart Blue Cat for making the biggest, best, most immersive followers and making them interact truly amazing. Well, that's lovely. Thank you. Shout out from Stitcher to themselves for surviving a very bad day at work yesterday and finally relaxing by catching a stream. Good. The bread song is a masterpiece. The bread song, that was Gary again. All the best lines are Gary, I'll be honest. Or if you listen to a really good line, it's probably Gary who wrote it. And Ragnar the bread, I don't know what was going through his head when he wrote that, but I just logged on in the morning to check the Google Doc, and that was there in front of me, and I was just like, yes, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So I hope you like that. It was brilliant. It was great. Gary recorded all his parts first, because he did all his recording first, because his time was much more constrained. And then I went along and filled in Lucien's bits afterwards, following his timing and rhythm and everything to kind of fill it in. So good, isn't it? It's great. Panther Brain, I'd love to see that Google Doc. It should be in a modding museum. Maybe we'll do something with it one day. I don't know. At the moment, it's just between us. But yeah, at some point, maybe we could. I don't know. I could share a screenshot of it or something if you want to see. I love so much how these interactions make Inigo a great role model / big brother type for Lucien, guiding him on matters of the heart and social interaction, the doubts that don't objectify your friends, etc. Exactly, yes. I love that relationship too. And it's kind of, Gary has been a wonderful source of advice and support for me throughout my whole modding journey. Doesn't that sound twee? It's been such a journey. Sound like an X Factor finalist. But no, through the, so he's been a role model for me, so it's nice to kind of have Inigo be a role model for Lucien as well, to kind of reflect that. And Inigo is a far more experienced character than Lucien, so yeah, I thought it was very fitting to have them build that kind of relationship. Is that not how you normally sing it? It is now, Inigo, it is now. Yeah, exactly. And the number of times when I've sung Ragnar the Red since then and nearly referenced Ragnar the Bread, and had to stop myself. It's happened a lot. So I'm glad I can actually talk about it now. Shout out from 2Ds to both creators of Kaiden and Inigo for agreeing to do interactions with Lucien, and to all three creators for having them be iconic and lovable to everyone. Well, that's nice. I can support that. Shout out, of course, to the other follower modders who also agreed to do interactions with Lucien. Of course, Anna and Anna NPCs, Hoth Trooper and Jace, who did Kaiden, Warabiki with Ori. These lovely people who've helped out doing these interactions. I hope I haven't missed anyone off. Hoth, Kaiden, Ori, Inigo, Anna NPCs. I think those are all the level 3 interactions. And of course, always more in the works from more people reaching out to me, which is lovely. Which I hope to be able to address for version 1.7.0. Thank you so much for the donation, Parisian CM. That's incredibly generous of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. That's really kind. That goes a long way. Thank you. That'll buy me dinner out in the post-COVID era. Does Inigo comment on Doomswithar? Yes, he does. So if you this is what I meant about how I'd added content to Doomswithar. If you replay Doomswithar with Inigo in tow now, you'll find there's a few more scenes that take place. So I do recommend replaying Lucien's personal quests now with the new update, bringing Inigo along, because that's a lot of fun. Does Inigo react to anything else involving Lucien? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Lich Demons. You'll have to be a little bit more specific. Do I still have plans to record more of Dragonborn Lucien? You mean Lucien the Dragonborn, the YouTube series? Yes, Season 2 of that will be coming a little bit later on in this year. I've been prioritising version 1.6.0 for reasons you probably now realise, because I wanted to get these Inigo interactions out as soon as possible so you could all experience them. So I've been focusing on that for the last few months, but I will now be returning to try and do a bit more YouTube content and other stuff like that, and the tutorials and all those things. Oh, the notification sounds, sorry, that's my emails coming through on my phone. Let me mute that for you. That must be very off-putting. Sorry about that. I didn't realise you could hear it. I should have realised, of course. Can you recruit both Kaiden and Inigo? Yes, you can, because they don't take up follower slots. The first time Panther Brain, is this the biggest collab between two companions in a game? Oh, I don't know about in a game. It is the biggest interaction between two Skyrim mods that's ever taken place. We're pretty confident of that. I mean, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm like 99% certain, and Gary agrees. We've had a look through at the other things that have been done, and we're pretty sure it's the biggest, in terms of number of lines, the biggest crossover between two Skyrim mods. I would guess, considering the sheer number of lines, it probably is the biggest interaction between two companions in a game. But then Dragon Age does an awful lot of interactions between its companions, and I haven't counted the lines, so there may be some Dragon Age interactions that surpass it. Or Mass Effect, possibly. It's hard to know. You'll have to check that out yourself. But there are over 700 lines of interactions between Lucien and Inigo. So compare that to other games and let me know. I'm sure, to be honest, there will be another game that's done more. Like, because these people are paid to do these things. They're going to be doing more. So, no, it's probably wrong to say. It's probably blowing my own trumpet too much to suggest that that it's the biggest interaction between two companions ever. No, I don't know. But if anyone finds out, let me know. I'd be interested. The first time I heard the Ragnar the Bread song, it was already well past midnight, and I missed the first half because another NPC was talking, so I loaded a previous save and stayed up another half an hour timing a save right when the scene started so I could play it for the hubby. Oh, that's really nice, Cthulhu. Yeah, it is random, so it's quite hard to predict when it's going to start. Lich Demons. Well, I know there's Doomswithar, which I've only seen one line of so far, unfortunately, but I was wondering if there's more besides that and the random lines. I'm still not really sure what... Well, yeah, there's 70 conversations, and some of them play in the personal quests. And the rest of them play during gameplay under particular conditions. I mean, yeah, there's lots of stuff. You and Gary flexing on everyone. I'm sure we're not intentionally flexing. I heard that Kaiden is being remade. It's being expanded by a new modder, yes. Can you recruit Inigo and Kaiden in your Skyrim playthrough? Yes, you can. Of course you can create a follower, Charlie Rogers. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you'll find I've started a series called How to Make a Follower Mod like Lucien Flavius. And I'm 4 episodes in at the moment, and I'll be doing more very soon, now that I've done the new update. But yeah, if you watch that, my whole premise of that is to take you through, for absolute beginner modders or expert modders, but from any range of modder, should take you through the process of how you do it. And I firmly believe that anyone can create a follower mod. You do need a decent microphone, you need a PC. Like, you need the basic technological equipment, but if you follow my tutorial, that should take all the sort of scripting scariness away from it. I've written all the scripts for you. So give it a go. You will find it easier than you're expecting. Most people do. I certainly did. Nuna says, I will be surprised if any two individual companions in any Dragon Age game have anything like 700 lines together. I don't know. I would be interested to find out, though. Shout out to Nuna from Morgan for being an awesome mod and for the tea recommendation. Nuna is an awesome mod and has never recommended tea to me, but I'm sure does a great job of recommending tea. Oh, 2Ds means in my playthrough right now. Yes, that's what I'm going to... Well, I'm not recruiting Kaiden just at the moment, but I would love to recruit Inigo as well to show off some of the interactions in-game. Inigo has commentary on Lucien's personal quest, but Lucien does not have commentary on Inigo's quest, and the reason for that is the patchless interactions. It's all contained within Lucien's ESP, and unfortunately, technical constraints mean it is possible to make Lucien comment on Inigo's quest, but it's obnoxiously difficult. Like, it's really tricky and fiddly, and the hassle of it was not proportionate, so... we haven't done that, but Inigo does comment on Lucien's quest, because that I can achieve within the ESP. Inigo and Lucien are the only followers in gaming, modded or not, that are equivalent to Dragon Age followers. Well, it was all in my whole Lucien interaction thing with all the other followers is inspired by Dragon Age, so I'm glad you make that comparison. That's really nice to hear. I understand it's a lot of work, from Pantherbrain here, I understand it's a lot of work, but what do you think stops other authors doing really in-depth conversations that set at such a high number? I wish all followers had this amount of work put into their interactions. It really feels like there's a lot to discover. It's fantastic. Well, the reason is... Well, okay, so Lucien's interactions with Inigo are about 10 times bigger than his interactions with any other follower. Maybe more. Like, Lucien has way more with Inigo than he does with Kaiden or Hoth or Ori. And the reason for that is that, well, there's a sort of combination of reasons for that. So, one reason is that if Smart Blue Cat reaches out to you saying, I would like to do interactions with your follower mod, you don't say, sure, let's do 5 and call it a day. You take that and you run with that as far as you possibly can. You know? You make it as big a thing as you possibly can do in the time that you've got. So that's kind of what I did, in that this was an opportunity here, a once in a lifetime, very narrow window of opportunity to work with the king of modding. And I cancelled all my other plans and just did it, you know, and got the most out of it as we possibly could, because the chance to do that is never going to come up again. So I did. Yeah. Also, Smart Blue Cat, as those of you who play with Inigo know, is an amazingly productive guy. Like, it doesn't do anything by halves. So Inigo has thousands of lines and all sorts of specific situations and variants on things and variety and customization. He's got so much in there. So I've got to live up to that standard with the interactions. So I just went for it. You know, as much as he was giving, I tried to give the same amount back and match it. So that's what we did. So that's why there's so much. But it's a lot of time and effort to do that, I can't lie. So I think if you're asking what stops other authors from doing it, it's, you know, it's very time consuming and difficult. Technically, it's quite difficult to do interactions between followers, especially patchlessly. So there's quite a steep kind of learning curve, but there's no reason you can't. And I'd love at some point to revisit some of the existing interactions and flesh them out a bit more. But that's not a priority just at the moment. My priority is to be adding new stuff rather than revisiting stuff I've kind of already done. But yeah, does that answer the question a bit? I don't know. I'm just sort of stream of consciousness riffing here. I hope that's helpful. We just basically, if we were going to do it, we wanted to do it properly. We wanted to do it to the full extent of what we could possibly achieve, rather than just the few spliced conversations I had before. Like, it had to be a whole proper thing. Is a patch planned for Lucien Inigo once Gary's schedule is more free? I.e. once he's finished V3. It depends entirely on Gary and what he's up to at the time, and also what time I've got at the time. You know, I don't know when V3 is going to be done. I don't know what it's going to involve. But at that time, I would love to do a patch to make Lucien talk about the new stuff in V3. And if Gary's up for it, I would love to do some more stuff for that. But I can't possibly predict what the situation is going to be by then. You know, so I don't know. I have now tried to move a bit closer to the mic, Nuna, so hopefully that helps. Trust is a very big factor. Yes, Panther Brain. But it's like Spielberg calling and saying, let's make a movie. You're not going to make Jaws 5. What? I don't quite follow, but it is like Spielberg calling and saying, let's make a movie. Yes. It is like that. It was, you know, it's Gary calling saying, let's do it. Let's do the Lucien Inigo interactions. Like, yeah. Perhaps this is a pipe dream, but would it be hypothetically be possible to direct some of the lines written for player names to another custom follower if we added a follower with the said names? No, don't do that. Just get in touch with me. Let's record some, you know, if you're making a follower, let's record some new interactions for it. Have original ones. Let's not splice the old dialogue and try and rehash it. Let's just do new stuff. I'm always up for it. I mean, I have time limitations, but I'm always down with recording dialogue for new follower mods. It's just a matter of me finding time to get around to doing it. You may have to wait many months for that opportunity, but I would much rather do new original stuff than rehash the old lines. Because splicing is just never satisfactory, really. Some authors... No, that's not true. Some mod authors do a fantastic job of splicing, and massive respect to them. Ori, in particular, Song of the Green, does an amazing... By Waribeki. Waribeki does an amazing job of splicing dialogue with the followers that Ori interacts with. It's fantastic. The Inigo stuff is exemplary. I don't have that level of skill, so I'm never personally satisfied by spliced conversations that I've done. But yeah, I don't want people splicing, Lucien. I just want to, because there's no need for it. I will record new stuff. Just ask me, and we'll do it together. Charlie Rogers. I hope I wasn't being rude. Being rude about what? Not sure what you're talking about. Oh, I see. The auto mod caught you because you said he is baby. Oh, well, I'll allow it. Don't know why that. Well, auto mod I have set to being a bit overkill cautious in order to make sure we catch everything. So sometimes it will catch your lines. I just have to click approve on it. Has Gary ever said whether or not Inigo v3 is the finale of Inigo's story? I'm not gonna. I don't know about this stuff, and I'm not gonna comment on Gary's stuff because it's not my stuff to talk about. Freezy Dragon, late to the stream, but I wanted to thank you so much for the last update. It's been amazing and so much fun hearing the banter between Lucien and Inigo. Thank you for doing that. You are so welcome. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a lovely day. Right, I've got to the end of all the questions, so I'm going to fire up Skyrim and we can crack on with this playthrough. Feel free to keep firing questions off at me while we're doing the gaming, you know? Let's keep this conversation going. I'll just get my laptop set up so I can actually read the chat while I'm playing. It's because it's a lovely dragon, Nix. Cat, is it a loaf or duck? Yes. Cats are everything. All things at once and none. Do 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 do. Da 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 do 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 do. Right, there's that. Let me close down some of the other things in the background that we don't need anymore. Bum 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 do 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 do. Now I should say we might not end up doing the full 3 hours of streaming today, because I do have an awful lot of real-world work to do this weekend that I've been neglecting a bit because of all of this stuff. So I might have to clock off a bit earlier. I'm not sure when it'll be necessarily. We'll see how the vibe goes. But I don't want anyone to be disappointed if I don't carry on all the way until the end of the 3 hours. Hey, Marine, I've just been talking about all the Lucien Inigo interactions, telling the story of all of that. All right, let's close down the CK and everything because we don't need that anymore. And we don't need that. Grey is here, by the way, for those of you requesting treats. She's over there and she's asleep. As ever, when she wakes up, I'll be sure to give them to her. Ah, well, it is all about the dedication and the willpower, Butane Boss. All the tools are there. I firmly believe anyone can. It's just a matter of choosing to and taking the time to do it. Scarlet Willow, did I miss anything? Yeah, you missed me talking all about the Lucien Inigo interactions, but you're very welcome to ask me more stuff about that if you want, at any point. Panther Brain, it speaks highly of both of you that you can't tell who wrote what with those interactions. I'm utterly blown away. Well, that's really nice of you to say, Panther Brain. Thank you. I'm really glad about that. I can tell, but I know. But also, because I know what to look for, I can tell a little bit which stuff is mine and which stuff is his. Because his is all the better lines, you know. All the best stuff I wish I'd written, but they're his stuff. But no, I'm glad. I'm glad you think that. If Lucien's approval down, will he hate the Dragonborn or will he simply dislike him? Simply dislike, really. It's very difficult to get Lucien's approval so low that he'll hate you. It's only the very specific situations where you'll get something like that. Ataku Gamer, I highly doubt this will happen since she hasn't done much in mods lately, but would it be possible for you and Patastic to do some lines for Recorder? I would love to. I did try reaching out to Patastic Panda and also MXR quite early on in the modding process, and they never got back to me about it. I assume because they are so busy, and as you say, Patastic Panda is retired from modding, you know, doesn't do mods anymore, really. He's moved on to other things. I would assume that that is not on the table. However, Lucien does talk about Recorder at least, so that's nice. But I would love to. I'm always up for it. Thank you so much for the sub, Scarlet Willow. I'm sure Grey is having sweet dreams. No, it's fine to. This is part of the purpose of this stream is to answer questions about Lucien and Inigo. So feel free to ask. You know, it's the first time we can all probably talk about it. Did I have ideas pre-written before Gary contacted me? Did Gary have ideas ready when he reached out? Okay, I didn't have ideas pre-written before Gary contacted me because I honestly never expected that he actually would. We had talked about it a bit earlier on, and it was we might do this someday. But I didn't expect that opportunity to come up in a long time, certainly. I didn't expect it to be anywhere near as soon. I thought it would end up being after V3. So, no, I was thoroughly unprepared. However, Gary was very prepared when he reached out and had already written several pages of interactions for them when he contacted me. Because Gary is on it, and I struggle through life trying to keep my head above water. Right, let's do... Close down Discord so that doesn't ping. Well, I wouldn't ever want to release the Google Doc or anything without having talked about it with Gary first, you know, because there's a lot of his commentary written down there, along with mine. So, no promises. Read the Google Doc. But it does exist. He does have infinite willpower and motivation, and I'm also in awe of his mighty power. It's true. Right, let's do Steam. Ba-ba-bum, 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 ba-ba-bum. The Skyrim. Commence. Commence the Skyrim. How does Gary do the things he does? You would have to ask Gary. The man is a machine. A lovely machine. You know, a really nice guy, but he has the power to do the most amazing amounts of work in ridiculously short amounts of time, you know. Insanely productive. Ba-bum, 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 bum, bum, bum. Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum, bum, bum. Ba-ba-bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Are there any plans to flesh out the conversations of other followers since Inigo and Lucien have so many lines together now? Maybe in the future. I'm not against it, but I am prioritizing developing new stuff at the moment rather than revisiting existing interactions. So, so no immediate plans, but it is something I might like to do at some point. Give me 1 sec. Be careful not to delete my Daveth save anymore, but delete the ones I did from earlier when I was trying to get a good shot of Lucien and Inigo for the thumbnail. Because those are all going to be broken if we load those up, because I just cheated with the console to make all that work. There we go, that's the one we want. Right, transition. Crime time.